Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa naminim, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa naminim, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya.
Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Patavrinda.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Patavrinda.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Rama, Madana Mohana. Haribol, Hintay Gor. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Goranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Goranga. Haribol, Lord Chaitanya, Haribol. Jaya Jaya Shila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Shila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda
Haribol, Jaya Jaya
Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate.
So I'll read here the teachings of Lord Krishna, and I'll just read one verse from the conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. One can understand the Supreme Personality as He is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. The purport from our instructing spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and His plenary portion cannot be understood by mental speculation, nor by the non-devotees. If anyone wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has to take to pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. Otherwise, the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will always be hidden. It is already stated that He is not revealed to anyone, to everyone. Everyone cannot understand God by erudite scholarship or mental speculation. Only one who is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service can understand what Krishna is. University degrees are not helpful. So, the process of being connected with the transcendental world of devotional service and knowing the Supreme Person, the qualification is that we must become devotees of God. And what is a devotee then? A devotee is someone who has loving devotion to the Supreme Person. So his love is spontaneous, and one thing I like to discuss with all of you here, the spiritual master is our well-wisher, meaning he wishes us well. So the spiritual master is the personification of God's compassion upon us. That's why Advaita Acharya prayed to Lord Krishna to come. And this science is revealed to Arjuna, who is a pure loving servant of Lord Krishna, because he is qualified to enter that world. Because it's about his decision to surrender purely and completely be dependent upon the Supreme Person. So all of you here, all of us here, we can achieve what all the saints and sages have achieved. To be resituated in one's natural condition, to be able to taste loving service to the Supreme Person, unflinching, undeviated, loving service. But we must become real devotees. Our eternal friend is Lord Krishna, the Supreme Person. And all the devotees, the Vaishnavas, the associate of Lord Krishna, wishes as well. So if we take this path, the blessing is already there, because they are our well-wisher. So the process we follow cannot be understood by mental speculation, by one's power, but it can be appreciated when one receives this knowledge from the pure loving servant and experience purification of the heart. And the first transcendental experience that one can experience is that he becomes aware of his transcendental nature, and he understands clearly his transcendental eternal position as eternally the loving servant of God, and engages in activities that is connected with the pleasure of God. So we're being given guidance by Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami through the nectar of devotion, so we can practice devotional service, practice until it becomes spontaneous. So the difference between someone who is a representative of God and someone who cannot see and does not understand the Supreme Person has a big difference, because the spiritual master wishes as well. He wants us to succeed. So the point I like to discuss here is the intention of the spiritual master, his heart's intention when he communicates to us. So when Lord Chaitanya approached Ishvarapuri and faithfully followed his instruction, he succeeded. So in Kali Yuga, in this age of quarrel and confusion, we can succeed and develop our relationship with the Supreme Person when we become free from material consideration. And the process that we do follow is the purificatory process that draws the mind away from matter. Because our conditioning here is focused upon matter, definitely we are in illusion, and our search for happiness and security for our well-being is futile, because we will experience separation from all the foundation of what we think is our security when we leave this body. And we experience the resultant, the karma. So the spiritual master is our well-wisher, and it is described in Scripture that the Supreme Person has unconditional love for us. No condition. He simply loves us. In this material world, material consideration is about likes and dislikes. It's based upon material sense perception. What is pleasing to you, what is displeasing, what is not pleasurable to you, and what is pleasurable. So the spiritual master is transcendental to all this material consideration. So when you come in contact with this path, it is under the guidance of our eternal friend who has unconditional love for us, Lord Krishna, and the personification of that friendship is our spiritual master who gives us his blessing so we can become real devotees of God by blessing us and giving us guidance. So the process we do follow is under the guidance of the saintly person, our instructing spiritual master and our initiating spiritual master. So the difference between the impersonalists and the personalists, the devotees, or anyone who are pseudo spiritualists trying to make believe that they're spiritual, they're very advanced. The difference is that the spiritual master wanted us to succeed. The impersonalists look at the impersonalists, those who teach, they teach that you can become God or you can have liberation. Don't you notice they are not your well-wisher? If the impersonalists, those who pose as God and do have a lot of disciples, and he's teaching that we are all God, how come the disciples did not realize or have clearly understood that they're God? Meaning they're in ignorance, and still this person who's posing as God and teaching we are all one, we are all God, you and me, we are all one, I am you and you are me, he has a lot of disciples. So meaning all those individuals are in ignorance. Because if you are God, I am God, my thoughts is your thought, then why will you have disciples? So it's putting the disciples, his followers, in ignorance so he can control them. So the perfect, someone who is really achieved this outlook is that he has no disciple. If he's really teaching that you are God, we are God, so why teach God? Okay? So the perfect teacher of this Godist philosophy should have no disciples. But how come there's a lot of followers? And don't you notice this, that even in our faith, that we were brought up, the conditioning, it's all about joining the group and about salvation. Okay? It's different. It's a completely a world of material consideration. So I'll read to you here the intent of the spiritual master, the heart of the spiritual master. Okay. The spiritual master wants us to succeed, to become real devotees, lovers of God, to be completely dependent upon the Supreme Person, to have this sustainable relationship that cannot be taken away from you, and in the process wherein you are engaging in the process of devotional practice, your relationship is sustainable even without the group, even without this body, because it's an eternal relationship. And the more you become closer, the more the intensity of that longing to taste devotional service, you're very eager. That becomes your life. That even though you're here in this material world, you are always praying someday, when will that day come when I'm completely serving and loving the Supreme Person and surrendering to Him and pleasing Him? So ito yung babasahin ko ngayon about the attitude or the heart of the devotee, the spiritual master. The spiritual master wants you all to become devotees of God, to be saintly, to be completely dependent upon God. There's no competition. So when Lord Chaitanya approached his spiritual master revealed his heart, his intention to Lord Chaitanya. Because Lord Chaitanya inquired from his spiritual master what is happening to him. So that's the benefit of someone who do follow and does have a spiritual master. Because if you're not sure, you're confused, you can approach your spiritual master and inquire, ask. This is what Ishvara Puri said to Lord Chaitanya. It is very good, my dear child. Ito muna. When one actually develops love for God, he naturally sometimes cries, sometimes laugh, sometimes chant, and sometimes run here and there just like a madman. So Lord Chaitanya approached his spiritual master. How come it seems that I become mad in chanting the holy names of God? And then he experiences perspiration, trembling, standing of one's bodily hair, tears, faltering, fading, madness, melancholy, patience, pride, joy, and humility. These are various natural symptoms of ecstatic love of Godhead, which causes a devotee to dance and float into the ocean of transcendental bliss while chanting the Mahamantra. So that state, it is natural for the living entity when he comes in contact with the source of happiness, Govinda, Krishna, when you chant the holy names. The more you become purified, the more you enter that world that is transcendental because your heart becomes purified. You're able to experience the happiness of being embraced to the core of your life, your heart. Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, they reveal themselves to you. Okay. So ito sabi ng spiritual master sa kanya, it's very good, my dear child, that you have attained the supreme goal of life by developing love of Godhead. Thus you have pleased me very much. I am very much obliged to you. My dear child, continue dancing and chanting and performing Sankirtan in the association with devotees. Furthermore, go out and preach the value of chanting the Krishna Nama. By this process, you will be able to deliver all fallen souls. So when you chant the holy names, you follow this sacrifice in the age of Kali Yuga under the guidance of Lord Krishna. We become part of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. So, my point is this. My spiritual master, my instructing spiritual master, he tells us, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. If there's a pudding or a cake there in front of you, to be able to taste that, you must get a slice and taste it. So, through our conditional life here, we experience separation from the source of happiness. And what happened in pursuance of a fulfillment that is inseparable from us, it's now misdirected upon this temporary material world. And we are not able to direct our lives prior to coming to this transcendental path, because we're not able to draw the mind away from matter. We're not able to make a decision to be experiencing a higher taste, because the experience we do experience is the flickering enjoyment of the senses. And it's not enough to fulfill the longing of the person, the life, you. So you're always lonely, empty, insecure. So when you come in contact with this path, especially the chanting of the holy names, when you chant the holy names, you experience in your life purification of the heart and protection from the Supreme Person who is our well-wisher. Well-wisher means He wishes you well. Unconditional love. Unconditional, no condition. So the fruit that you're making progress is that you yourself, you're experiencing this transcendental experience, and you're now in a world that is aloof from sensual enjoyment. You have this body, but you just take care of this body as a means to use it while you're still here, like a car or a vehicle that you're using. When time comes, you leave this vehicle, and then when we come to the point of this longing, unflinching, undeviated surrender in humbleness, in meditation to please God, then that is where we will go, because that is our heart longing. So yun yung perfection ng devotional service. Whatever state of mind you remember at the time you leave this body, that state you will attain. Meaning, if what is your security, what is very dear to you in your heart is devotion to the Supreme Person, and it is enhanced by chanting the holy names, because you experience connection with the source of pleasure, Lord Krishna, the source of happiness, Lord Krishna, the source of strength, Lord Hari. Okay. Then, while in this world, you are in the transcendental world, and when you leave this body, you go to the transcendental world, leaving this material world. So that is the science of how we can become free from this material world. Attachment to the holy names of God. So when we make progress, this world becomes dull and void, because you're able to see that this world is a world of darkness, a world of no life, and we're struggling like drowning in this ocean and never experiencing the experience to breathe the air. We're in the desert, and our tongue is like a big desert, and we need an ocean of water, and we cannot find it. So Lord Krishna comes. That's why when you chant the holy names, the prayer is, "Oh my Lord." Actually, when you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, it is a connection with someone who is your unconditional friend, your well-wisher. And when you take this path, the spiritual master will be very pleased, and is pleased when you make progress towards loving Krishna. He's your well-wisher. Unlike in the material world, everybody wants to become number one. Okay. Don't you notice? I'll give you one example. This guy tells us, we are all children of God. Okay? So you join the group. Understand? And what happened? You give tithing. You give alms to the group. Okay? So they have a lot of, they come to the point with so many funds. But that, and there's he's saying that we are all children of God. But if you look closely, all the wealth of the organization is in his name or in his family. And when that person who's preaching about supposedly about salvation, he leaves the body. The ones who benefit from all the tithing, alam yung tithing? Abuloy ba? Tithe, okay? Are his family members. On and on and on, this false extended ego. And all the followers, when he preaches, we are all children of God. This word belongs to God. Okay? But it is under my name. Because what if someday you do something that will be an extraction of all this wealth and you plunder it? But what do? They put that name under their son, their grandson, and those unborn family members to have control over this material world. Kaya sabi ni Jesus, many will call, Jesus, Jesus, have we not prophesied in your name? Have we not saved in your name? Have we not done good works in your name? Ano sabi ni Jesus? Get away from me, you workers of iniquity. You have not done the will of my Father. We have nothing in common. Okay? Because their consciousness is centered around this material world. That's why there's a saying, what does a man profit if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? When we say soul, God. Your life in relationship with God. Is it clear? Niyan. So the spiritual master is wishing you well. He gives you everything. Krishna, the cause of all causes. The holy names and Lord Krishna is non-different. The spiritual world is contained there. But you cannot enter that world if you're not a devotee of Krishna, because Krishna will be hidden. He reveals himself to his devotee. Look at the relationship of Mother Yasoda. You look, we can notice that Lord Krishna in Vrindavan, they never know that Lord Krishna, they never see Lord Krishna as God. They see him as the most wonderful child. So Mother Yasoda embraces Lord Krishna, feeds him milk, and Lord Krishna is so much in comfort, undisturbed under the arms of Mother Yasoda. Okay? Krishna relates to them. So the point now sa atin, if we become purified from this material conditioning of false ego, meaning this lordship, will experience unconditional, unflinching, undeviated surrender and loving experience to the Supreme Person. And then you come to the point, there's nothing more to be gained. So what will you gain because you'll be given transcendental vision. You're able to see the difference between this science or darkness and this transcendental truth. That in this world, it's all matter. And it's all moving because of the living entities. You, me. The material world is moving because you. When you leave this body breaks down. So how come everybody is trying to find security in this temporary world? And they're wondering, how come I'm fearful? How come I have no security? Okay? Because of ignorance. Ignorance. And even though you come in contact with the devotee of God, you come in contact with the science, if you don't apply the purificatory process of chanting the holy names, the friendship that Krishna is giving us, you are not able to appreciate the blessing of your unconditional friend, someone who loves you. You'll not take it because you will be desire-driven, meaning there's a force that will force you, not by your choice, but will engulf you, enslave you. By force, you will be driven by this force, lust, is born, and you become very angry. Out of wrath, anger, you lose your intelligence. Kaya individuals who are not devotees of God will do horrible things, bizarre activities, and sinister move that is detrimental to their spiritual life. They engage in vices, crime, sinful activities. So you can check if you're making progress. So those who are given this opportunity, don't be complacent that, oh, I'm chanting, I am a devotee. No. Because the wish, the desire of the spiritual master is that we make progress towards loving Krishna. And it will be natural for us to experience compassion for others. Compassion. How can you experience compassion for others when you don't have love for God? Even though you are initiated, you are chanting the holy names, and you're not making progress. You're not be overflowing with care and compassion because you're not connected in pure loving devotion with the Supreme Person, that you're seeing individuals in this material world separated from service and loving devotion to the Supreme Person, that they're aloof and they're suffering because they're now under the modes of material nature and experiencing the sinful activities, the karma that they did. Kaya maawa ka ba? Kaya yung mga tao, those individuals who were given the chance to engage in this process, and they think they're there already, there should be proof. A certain activity leads to a certain consciousness. What activities you do, that will be your consciousness. So if you're not engaged in pure devotional service, then your consciousness will be contaminated by material consideration. What is material consideration? The influence of goodness, the influence of passion, the influence of ignorance. It's connected all to this material consideration of lordship of the body and a sensual experience for your own self. And you are not independent, you are not self-sufficient. So definitely, you will not succeed to experience this transcendental happiness. The only way you can experience this transcendental happiness is when you are connected under the guidance of the spiritual master and the blessing of his devotees and Lord Krishna to experience devotion, unflinching devotion, love for God. And Krishna will not be hidden to you because you will be seeing Krishna. So Lord Krishna, in the purport of its divine grace, saying, Lord Krishna is hidden from the eyes of the materialists. Why? How can you exploit others when you are in clear vision? You'll have no what? You'll be under the influence of lust. You'll become hard-hearted. Very simple lang. Intindihan niyo? You do horrible, sinister, bizarre activities because you're not aware. You're in darkness. But if you're with the light, then everything is clear. Okay? Don't you notice activities, sinister and bizarre activities are always done hidden? Okay? Hidden. For example, people rape. Will they drag somebody here and rape that person in front of us? No. They lay down their tracks. Okay? They contemplate. And lay down their tracks so they can control and manipulate this person driven by lust through their senses. Because they identify with the mind and the body. Though that is sinful and a demoniac consciousness. So to be able to see Krishna, we must become real devotees. And then when we achieve the point wherein our life is simply experiencing humbleness in surrender to the Supreme Person, receiving the mercy and the blessing, especially the congregational chanting of the holy names that touches the core of our heart, you'll come to the point there's nothing more to be gained. So the senses may be very turbulent, but they will have no, para mang mga ahas, the senses are like snakes. Alam niyo yung ahas? Snake ba? Di ba may fangs? So what will happen is that all the pangs, bangkil ba, ng ahas, mapangag ba, kaya masipaakong ka, hindi na, baliwala lang. Magitikong ka lang ba. So when you are making progress in this path, you'll able to realize you're not the body, you're not the mind, you're not the senses. And then your connection is between your heart, your life, in doing the will of God. And it's based upon faithfulness, sincerity. Even though you know you're not sincere, you know you're very sinful, but you make effort to be sincere. You desire to be desirous to be sincere. Okay? And the spiritual master blesses you. Krishna blesses you because they have unconditional love for you. So, dito natin makita if we're making progress. So, the whole point in spiritual life is not about retribution. That if you don't follow God, there's retribution. He's a judge that will put you in hell. No. You're responsible for your action, whatever you do. Whatever you do. You touch the fire, you get burned. Okay? You jump in the water, you don't know how to swim, you drown. So that's why the spiritual master teaches us how to swim in this transcendental ocean of devotional service by receiving the transcendental holy names. So when you engage in the transcendental practice and the holy names, the Sankirtan movement or the chanting of the holy names becomes your life, okay, then you'll experience what is surrender, how sweet it is to be loving the Supreme Person. And you'll be able to see others suffering disconnected from this love, and you engage in the process of the Sankirtan movement. Because the spiritual master wishes everybody to be devotees of God. Pray, like Advaita Acharya, even Lord Chaitanya, even Lord Nityananda, all his associates, they came here, they're the most merciful. So we can experience this connection of pure love of God, to be able to see Krishna. So yun ang key. To be able to see Krishna, we must become devotees. You cannot tell na, some people will say, oh, if there is God, show me God. Okay? You cannot see because you don't have the eyes to see God. Your eyes cannot see. Oh. You think you can see? You cannot even see the back of your head. You cannot even see your, eyebrows or your eyelids. You cannot even see. I see you, your body, okay, but you cannot even see your ear. So you ask this question, show me God before I serve Him. That is not, you must have the vision. You must become a devotee of God. Now, if you want to become free from the suffering and the disconnection from what you're longing for, well, everybody's longing to be happy. And that's why the spiritual master blesses you. He blesses you. He gives you the holy names. So your relationship will be a sustainable experience of devotion and activities every day while you're in this body and when you leave the body. Kaya chant. Never forget the holy names. Remember the holy names. Chant the holy names. When you're sad, chant the holy names. When you're fearful, chant the holy names. When you're troubled, chant the holy names. Because it's the prime benediction that will connect us with the transcendental experience of devotion to the Supreme Person that is transcendental to this sensual experience. Because it's an experience to the core of our heart, our whole being, a happiness that you cling on, even though you leave this body. So that is a devotee of Krishna. So the spiritual master wants us to become devotees of Krishna. Unlike these individuals who may be given, who poses as devotees, but you can see and you can just, through their activities, through their action, it's contrary to the compassion and care that our spiritual master and Advaita Acharya wanted us to achieve. So it means those individuals who are pseudo devotees, who may be initiated, who may be given the opportunity, but in their heart, they have this hard heart, cruel heart, and that's what manifests through their action, their activities. Because they don't have Krishna. They don't have love for God. So, the devotee is a teacher by example. If you love Krishna, you can give Krishna to people. If you're making progress towards that embrace through the core of your heart, and your embrace is the holy names, Krishna will manifest, will descend. He gives you remembrance. He gives you connection with what you're longing for. That's why the devotee is always in meditation of the holy names of God, because the holy names of God is the spiritual world. The holy names of God, the spiritual master is in the holy names of God. It's everything, spiritual and material. But in this case, it is about Rama, the giver of pleasure, Hari, the giver of energy, transcendental energy, and Krishna, the all-attractive Supreme Person, who is our eternal friend. So it's an experience you must engage activities you experience. Just like Lord Chaitanya given instruction to chant the holy names, he came back to spiritual master, and spiritual master is very pleased. You have succeeded, my child. My child, you have succeeded, and he's blessed by the spiritual master. Yun ang well-wisher. Okay. So you can check, because a devotee is a teacher by example. Someone who's really loving God can give you this path and help you achieve love for God. Okay. So, meaning, your spiritual relationship with God does not depend upon the organization. It does not depend upon joining. Does not depend upon anyone. Okay? But rather, it's a sustainable connection with your eternal friend, Krishna, through the introduction that is given to us by our spiritual master. So, I mean, nobody can take it away from you. So you have no fear. But the more you make progress, the more you long. Krishna, I don't have love for you. And you carry on engaging in the process. Because the spiritual master, he's not thinking he's a spiritual master. He's thinking he's a devotee, the disciple of his spiritual master. He has no desire to lord over his disciples. Because the path we do follow is a sustainable, transcendental world that you can have without becoming dependent upon anyone else to achieve love for God, except through receiving the instruction of your spiritual master. Is it clear? By the mercy of Lord Krishna, one comes in contact with this pure loving servant. And by coming in contact with the pure loving servant, the spiritual master, the associate, the resident of the spiritual world, one is able to appreciate and hear about the transcendental eternal glories of God, and it becomes his meditation day out, day in. Because it's the source of life, not this material world. Intindihan mo? So all you got to do is chant, Krishna, Krishna. I know I'm not intelligent. I'm not really, I have so much bad habits. Krishna, please protect me. So when you do that, and you engage in the process of hearing, chanting, remembering, praying, bowing down to the deity, you come to the point of obeisances. It's just not bowing down to, you come to the temple not by bowing down, but rather obeisances. I offer you my life. I want to become your friend. That's the point. God should be your friend because He's your eternal friend. And you can go back to that world where you can play with Krishna eternally. Is it clear? You can serve Krishna eternally. Haribol, namaste.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prastaya
Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prastaya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Dayanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Dayanya Haribo
Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Dayanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Dayanya Haribo
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya.
Bhakti Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Bhakti Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda.
Gopala Govinda Rama
Krishna,
Madana Mohana
Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama
Krishna,
Madana Mohana Haribol
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama
Krishna,
Madana Mohana
Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Haribol Nitai Gaur
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama
Hari Bol Krishna,
Madana Mohana
Hari Bol Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama
Krishna,
Madana Mohana Haribol
Gopala Govinda
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jai Gurudev, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Hari Bol, Jai Jai Srila Prabhupada. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Naminehi Gora Karuna Swarupaya